Should have the notes open. Oh, we're live. Hi.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
I didn't. Well, welcome to the Daytripper Photo Show. My name is Bryan Weiss. The guy that does all the Daytripper stuff. And beside me, I don't know if it's to your left or to your right, but the guy drinking right now, that's Phil Zerrato. Phil.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Oh, that's my, sorry. This is happening every week. It's going to be a thing now. We got to hit pause on the other video. There we go. I've got it under control at least now. And beside Phil, Michael Lane. How are you?
Hello. I'm good.
Hello. Gotta do the Mrs. Doubtfire thing. Hello.
Hello.
So, okay, before we get into the photo review, this is the photo review show, by the way. If you just tuned in, I know we're getting a couple viewers right now. That's awesome. This is the photo review show. It's episode 191, the photo review for naked photography. And I assume by now everybody knows naked photography is not nude photography. It is literally just shooting in a neutral environment and using what's around you, and one camera, one lens, shooting in JPEG, no editing, just composing in camera and making the photo the way you want it to be. Now, there's been a few posts already, which is awesome. This isn't an easy challenge. This past weekend, I ran the overnight island extravaganza. It was actually really cool. We saw the Northern Lights, and it was bucket list stuff. So while there, I had every intention of doing the naked photography challenge. In fact, I put it off because I figured I'll be at a cottage on an island. There's got to be a 10-foot by 10-foot area that I could do something cool with. As it turns out, we saw the Northern Lights, and I got busy. So I ended up not doing it. I was going to do light painting, actually. And I planned out the room. I saw all the stuff, and I just never got back to it because by the time the Northern Lights were done, it was like, so that didn't work. So anyway, long story short, I think all three of us kind of crammed for the test.
Maybe a little.
Is that, yeah? Michael?
A little bit.
A little bit. So that's okay, though. We tried. We made the effort. And I've got some photos that I actually really like.
Me too.
So I think that's what we're going to find is we can work toward the challenge. We can try the best that we can. And there's a few who posted their photos already. And thank you so much for making the effort. Because it isn't easy. I mean, so many people ask me, what is this all about? Like, how can I take 10 or 20 pictures? There's too many. And I'm looking around, and I sat down for a couple seconds, and I made my list. 20 pictures. Actually, 21. I didn't get through all of them. I didn't have enough time. I guarantee you, if I had enough time, I could have done that. But I had to work today, so time was a problem. So, yeah. How far did you get, Michael?
I got 18 photos done. I would have had 2 more, but my dog refused to eat my homework. I tried to get a picture of my dog, but she wasn't cooperating.
Did you make a list?
I did not make a list, but I had a mental list of all the things that I wanted to shoot, and they all sucked.
Oh, really?
So most of them did. So I shot a few more. I kind of like what I got, though. They're in the process of uploading now.
Cool. How about you, Phil? How many did you get through?
I got about 8 or 9 pictures. No, I did the opposite. I didn't make a list, but I set a timer. And I was like, I got 20 minutes. Ooh. What can I do?
Well, that's a totally different twist.
Well, yeah, but I also had 20 minutes before I had to leave.
Oh.
So like, I don't really want to do this tonight because I know there's good lighting right now. So I tried to get everything done, and I went over the timer a little bit by probably 10 minutes or so, but I think it might have worked out. I'm going to figure out how to upload them to the website because I don't think I've ever uploaded something to Google+.
Oh, actually, you know what? I should probably do that right now. I'm going to upload mine. So whoever is watching right now, go to the Daytripper Photo community, and you will see the photos that I've made for this challenge, which are uploading shortly. I only got to 8. I got to 8. You just you go to the community, you click add photos, and you choose photos, and then you add them. And then they add.
Right. Yes, that's how you do it.
They kind of make it easier than you think it should be.
They do. Yeah, I was in the wrong place. I was looking at everyone's pictures. I'm gonna be slightly quiet for a minute, guys, as I get this sorted out. I wasn't thinking about doing this before. I was just going to screen share, but I should totally post something to the community.
I'm still going to screen share because there's probably folks who might watch this who aren't in the community or whatever. So I think the community posting to that would help for people watching live.
I was going to screen share from the community, but it's all good.
Okay. So anyway, I have my photos added there. Click add and say, hey, these are my photo challenge photos.
I made the mistake of shooting mine in full res, so they might upload tomorrow. They're taking their sweet time.
Well, I did as well. I shot it in full res JPEG. I just made them right now on my trusty old Mr. Snaps. I've got a behind the scenes shot to begin with and a couple others as well. I did some light painting. I did a whole bunch of different things. So there they are. They're posted. So just want to remind anybody who's watching live right now, if you do want to chat to us during the show tonight, we're going to be looking to do some of the pictures that others have made. If you want to chat to us through the show on the Facebook, or sorry, the YouTube, Facebook, YouTube page, you can just say something. It says it right there. Say something, literally. And I can put emoticons as Phil loves and all kinds of other things. So chat to us. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know if you like the photos or if you like our opinions or if you don't have anything to say, or even if you're just watching and want to say hi. Go ahead and just say hey or hi, whatever kind of things you want to type. Okay, so let's get into some of this stuff here that we want to talk about. It's going to be an interesting show because one of the things that I like about this challenge is that you get to see how people perceive things and perceive photography. And I find that to be more interesting than the actual photos sometimes. It's just, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like just how you see the vision, how people's vision is different from one person to the next. Like we can go on a day trip and have 20 people in the same place and every single person will come up with something different because, in my opinion, people draw from their own personal history. My history is different than yours, Michael, and yours is different than Phil's. And you know, I was teaching yesterday at a school, and all these kids are from different places, and everybody has a different vision, and they bring something different to the table as far as how they perceive the world around them. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, or am I just talking gibberish here?
No, I totally agree with you. And it's something that I would say you saw a lot more of in the film days, but now as people are getting more confident and more comfortable with the digital side, that's starting to come back a little bit. I think the creativity is coming back. And so I think it's definitely a good thing to see.
Mm-hmm. Michael, what do you think in your life has influenced your style of photography? Because I mean, you were showing me some things a few minutes ago that I never even thought was possible. And yet these are things that you found out on your own and just by experimenting. So what is it about your history that made you delve into things this way? Because that's really my point.
I think you actually slightly hinted at the point in the question when you were saying that you saw a few things that you didn't think were possible. When I was 10, I think around 10 years old, my best friend when I was younger started learning magic. And that was my first major interest in life was actually magic. And it was the idea of being able to do something impossible. And especially sort of the beauty of magic that is a slightly more modern approach is the fact that it's an intellectual challenge. You know it's a trick and it still fools you. Mm-hmm. You approach it because it's a trick rather than because it's mystical. And it's the idea of taking something completely ordinary and completely bending the rules, I think really carried over into any other artwork I've tried to do. And it's really showing in my photography now, just taking something normal and showing how I interpret it rather than what's actually there.
Love that. That is awesome. And I kind of like that as well. I mean, there's a lot of people who are purists and say, you know, you go to Algonquin Park and you shoot a sunset and it should look exactly like the sun was. Or others will say, no, I want to make the water gold. I want to make the sky blue. Instead of, you know, the sky being gold and the water blue, you want to flip things up a little bit, or you want to work with contrasting colors and give a different dynamic, or, you know, add a pastel tone to it, or, you know, just something that layers your emotion. I think it was Gabriel who first told me how photography is the image and editing is your emotion, or you're layering your personality on the photo.
Yeah.
I believe somebody else said it, but Gabe was the first person that I remember mentioning it. So that's so interesting when we think about this, and that's what I was really hoping to see in the Naked Photography Challenge was people's interpretations of the world around them without fluff and without edit and without all of the shenanigans that go along with it. Phil, I'm just looking at your photos. You have exactly the same number as I have.
8. Okay.
And I tell you, man, that shallow depth of field stuff is pretty cool.
Well, I have to thank the Sigma 105mm Canon macro lens.
Okay, which is funny because that's a lens that we have from the day trip on this past Sunday, and
That it is.
the price session coming up this Sunday. So
which I think there's still a couple spots left on.
there are. Hint, hint. Nudge, nudge. No, it's going to be awesome, but that's so cool that you were able, oh man, what is that? Is that a needle, a record album needle?
That's my gramophone.
Gramophone.
My
It's like,
gramophone.
that is not a Techniques needle right there.
I did not realize how dirty everything in this office was until I started shooting it that way.
Shooting in macro, you see everything.
Gunk
Oh, yeah.
on that needle is just crazy.
I had the exact same problem when I was shooting. It's kind of embarrassing.
Oh man, I love the light.
I just
Really
went with
nice,
it and
Phil.
hope for the best. Thank you.
All right, well, it's not our photos specifically that we're supposed to be reviewing or critiquing, but we wanted to challenge ourselves. We
Yes.
wanted to get out there and do something different. And I don't know about you all, but I found my life to be the most hectic life imaginable when it comes time to actually taking pictures for a photo challenge. I just can't ever get the time to do it.
Yeah.
But there have been people who did,
Mhm.
and that's awesome. So what we're going to do first is we're going to just remind everybody, if you are watching live, please join in the Q&A, like I already mentioned. Ivan says it's pretty herky-jerky video. Okay.
You seem a little jumpy.
I'm
Yeah.
on crack. I don't know.
Now, Ivan, is that everyone or just Bryan?
Good question. Good question. And I have to admit, I do have a new modem that I just hooked up yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And I had to go back and forth to Rogers 3 times before I finally got one that didn't ask me to sign into Fido, which is very strange because I don't have Fido.
Very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating. It was very frustrating. I just wanted to have a nap and I couldn't. Anyway, that's white. First world problems. What am I, Donald Trump? Anyway,
Make Donald Trump again.
just me. I'm jerky. Okay, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to lower my bandwidth here a little bit, so hopefully it's not jerky. I'm just not going to see as much, and I don't look as. Nah, it's probably better. I don't look as good. So there you go. Thank you, Ivan, and tell me if it looks any better. And Mark says, "Greetings from Thunder Bay." Thunder Bay. Mark is so all over the place. I love it. That was in North Bay, not quite Thunder Bay. Why would North Bay be south of Thunder Bay?
Because it was north of Toronto, but south of the Thunder.
Oh,
Did they-
yes.
did they find it first?
Thunder.
They probably found it first. Actually, I don't know, because Thunder Bay is right on the... Well, I guess, yeah, because Thunder Bay is right on, what, Lake
What was that?
Superior?
Squirrel? Squirrel. Oh, look at that. We squirreled. Haven't done that in a while.
Superior, Huron, Ontario, Michigan. I don't know how the... I feel like I'm in like grade 4 geography. I can't remember what the order of the Great Lakes.
You know, the best part about this show is that if you go to our show notes for the show tonight, there's
As
nothing.
no mention of lake whatsoever.
No mention of any of this conversation right now. Lake Superior, Mark says.
Yes.
There you are. Thanks, Mark.
So as you come up the St. Lawrence and somehow get over Niagara Falls and end up in Lake Superior, you can get to Thunder Bay.
You must have somewhere GPS.
Or you
And
come
it's
through the top.
cold, he says. I would imagine it's
Come through the
cold.
top.
It's pretty cold up in North Bay. Quite a bit further north. Okay, so let's get to this, guys. We have some photos to review from our photo challenge. And as I was talking about, the Naked Photography Challenge is not easy.
I will agree.
What do you guys think were the biggest challenges shooting in this way?
I would say, honestly, the biggest challenge I had was having the room in my office to jam a tripod. Because apparently there's too much garbage everywhere.
Garbage,
and
yes.
I couldn't actually stick stuff places. So I had to move some stuff around. But other than that, it was also just getting, because I had the vision of what I wanted for some of these pictures in my head. And it was just trying to get it into the camera and get the camera to do what I wanted it to do.
What about you, Michael?
Similarly, mine was trying to find a way to get my tripod onto my desk. Because I was trying to handhold most of the shots, and sort of a lot of what I shot was very geometrical, which I realized looking at it on the big screen failed horribly. But there was a couple shots that I wanted the shutter drag for, and I could not move my computer properly. I couldn't get my tripod to line up properly, so that was a complete pain.
Yeah, same me as well. I have a flag hanging up here, a little thing I got on Canada Day, and I wanted to have it blowing in the breeze with a bit of motion and then flash it so it'd have some motion and then sharpness. But I couldn't get my camera up here, and it's stuck to the side of my radio, so I didn't rip it off. Anyway, we have lots of issues when we're doing this, so I really give the folks who did it a lot of credit. And let's see, who did it? Michael's are up, mine are up, and Phil's are up. Phenomenal. Jerry Kelly did it. Ivan Foster did it. Ivan's watching. Rosemary Huber did it. So who else? That's it. Just the three folks who are daring and bold and awesome enough to take the challenge. So now, that being said, the photo challenge we're giving you this week is actually a lot easier.
Yes.
But don't hurt yourself doing it. Just saying. And you'll know what I mean when I give it to you later. So I expect to have quite a few more photos in the next one. And that's a good thing, because this challenge that we're going to issue you right now is the final challenge in this quarter. It's the last chance to earn points to win the $350 gift certificate from Daytripper Photo, to win the Cotton Carrier Wanderer hip holster system, which I absolutely love. Honestly, guys, the whole weekend, it was basically me and my hip holster, which, I had the shorts pretty much with me the whole time, on my holster, on my hip, and in the canoe, in the boat, on shore, you name it, all over the place. I can keep my camera on me anytime I needed it. It was just so convenient. Anyway, you win one of those things, which is pretty awesome. You also win the Cotton Carrier hand strap, which you can see I wear on every single one of my cameras. There's the Schwartz over there. There's Mr. Snaps hanging over here. Oh, I took it off. I've got my hand strap from this one on Herschel right now. Herschel is my infrared camera, named after the gentleman who discovered infrared photography. And I was using that quite a bit up north, which was pretty cool. So you win that stuff. You also win a Sennheiser lanyard and lens pen stuff. Awesome stuff from Lens Pen. The Pro Kit. So you get 3 lens pens, a cleaning cloth, which is machine washable, which is pretty sweet. I have lots of Lens Pen stuff over the weekend. Holy cow. Guys, I saw a spider, a dock spider. I swear to God, it was this big.
You showed me a picture of it. It made me uncomfortable.
It was on a 6x6 post in the front on the water, and it was the entire size of the side of the post. It was disgusting. Don't know why I just thought of that. Has nothing to do with Lens Pen. But anyway, so let's go. What, should we start looking at some pictures here?
Absolutely. Do you want me to screen share?
Actually, I have an idea. Phil,
okay.
Why don't you screen share?
Okay. Sounds good. Let me get it set up here, just because I seem to be relatively smooth.
Okay. Ivan, am I still choppy? Herky jerky? That would be great if you can let me know.
Mumbo jumbo.
Are we looking at Rosemary's first?
Yes, we can do that.
All right.
Do one over here. Okay. Now, I don't see comments here, so if you could let me know which one is the selection, because there should be 2 selections.
Okay.
What, isn't there not?
Yeah, there should. Well, there should be 2 that we review.
Oh, so we picked the 2.
Well, usually they're supposed to kind of indicate which 2.
Okay, I just can't see the comments once I go into the thing.
I'm trying to see if Rosemary made some comments here.
If not, we can have a chat about some of them.
And let's go back one notch. Let's see here if she says. View from my kitchen window for the Naked Photography Challenge. I used a 70 to 300 lens for the pictures. Take one of the Lily picture to judge.
So she didn't actually go outside. We're commenting earlier that she I think you said she went outside the box, but she shot it from her window.
Well,
Great pictures from a kitchen window. I wish my backyard looked like your backyard.
It's funny because when we were on the island, I gave the challenge naked photography on the island as well, and some of the people who were there were like, "Well, can I take pictures of straight up?" And I said, "Well, it's pretty much supposed to be, just what's around you that you can control." But I don't mind this. Like, if you're just sitting at a window, you're looking at a very specific spot as well, right? It's not like you can go outside and move around. So that's fine with me.
You're still restricted.
Absolutely. And she suggested we look at one of the lilies. So looking at the overall photo. So this is my original intent. We look at the overall scheme of the photos and check out your personality and what you're seeing around you. And, I got to give Rosemary a lot of credit. She's got some really neat stuff. The lily pads and the frogs, her composition with the birdhouses, the 3 of them off to the side a little bit. The lily pad with the lily flower. That's pretty. Nice shallow depth of field.
Should I be clicking through these?
No, I'm just
okay. I thought we were going at the same time.
No, I'm just going ahead because we're going to look at some of the lily. She said one of the lily pictures, and I'm going to let you choose that one, Phil.
Well, I looked at these pictures earlier, and one of those just has so much color and so much detail in it. It's surprising.
Is that the one you have on there?
No. These are, I believe, daisies.
Oh. So which one were you talking about?
I think the last picture. Well, we'll come to it. We'll flip through some pictures.
Okay, why don't you flip?
Okay. So we've been looking at this one for a little bit. Looks like we have some daisies. They might not be daisies. Or they might be daisies. Very pretty. I like the grouping of the flowers here.
Now, if anybody's watching right now at home, it's a really good idea if you can go to the Daytripper community and follow along. That way you're seeing the pictures high resolution, not just as a video on the screen. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm not really looking at Phil's window. I'm just checking it on my own computer. So, yeah, the detail's much better than I expected because it doesn't look the same on the screen. Again, using that shallow depth of field, blurring out the background. Michael, what do you think?
I like it. You pretty much covered it. I don't have much more to add. I'm concerned about the exposure that is burnt out in the corner there, but it's good framing. It's a good shot for especially just going out the window there.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just cruising anyway, though, right, Phil?
Exactly. I'm just getting over here to press the next button. Then we got a close-up on the flowers. I'm assuming it was a cloudier day because there doesn't really look to be any shadows. So, like, pretty nice.
Pretty clean.
Yeah. Jump over to the next one.
Sure.
And we can always pick the one we like and jump back to it.
Yeah.
I like the happy face.
I like that she's seeing details. She's looking close at stuff, you know? It's
and
not just the big picture.
Yeah, and for zooming into it, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good point, eh? We can't see the EXIF, but obviously if she was at her window, this is zoomed in all the way and there's good sharpness. All right.
Was everything shot from the window?
It sounds like it. Oh, the lilies would be the water lilies. So that's the one she wants us to look at. So let's jump to that.
Okay, well, there's 2 water lilies.
I'm going to go with the second one.
Okay.
I'm taking the second
16, I believe it is. 15.
This garden looks really nice. I like this little flower.
I know, eh? We just want to go hang out at Rosemary's house.
Yeah. Imagine, like, the bugs that you would get in this backyard. Is it this one or the last one?
Number 15.
I don't see a number.
Oh.
No, it's the other one.
Let's get over there. This one.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Michael, why don't you start on this?
I love the framing of it. You're right talking about the colors. Wicked, vibrant color. It's a really, really strong contrast. Like this to me looks like it would have been edited, like tossing a curves adjustment and everything. To know that this is an unedited shot is really, really satisfying. The exposure was spot on for this. So, and yeah, exactly that. I love the framing. I love the depth of field. Everything, the composition of this came together really nicely.
Yeah. So?
Yeah, I agree. Like if you didn't tell me this was straight out of camera, I would assume that you did a little bit of work with it because it's just the colors are there. The the detail. I like the reflection in the water. It's good. The only thing that I would potentially do to it would be to crop the bottom out a little bit, but we can't do that as it's straight out of camera. So it's gorgeous.
Yeah. I agree with everything you guys said. And, the whole cropping idea was in my head as well. It wouldn't have been the bottom, though. I would probably crop the top off. That's where it's brighter.
Okay.
Because I actually like that reflection.
Well, I like the reflection, too. It's just this part of the leaf here.
Just below it, yeah.
Yeah, if that, maybe a bit of that. But again, like straight out of the camera still looks great.
Right, and that's the, the 3:2 ratio sensor and is what it is, right?
Yeah.
The color, the contrast, the detail, the purple around where the reflection is on the lily pad. Great exposure, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Good job, Rosemary. And thank you so much. I mean, you made all 20 shots.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, so let's see. Who else do we have?
Well, did we want to look at a second one?
Oh, yeah. Well,
or did we kind of start with the first one?
She mentioned one.
Okay.
One of the lilies, but we should really go into two.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump through. I'm going to jump all the way to the end. I think that's where I am now. I'm just going to work one way back, and we can, because we've seen all the pictures so far. You can go through. I gotta say, I like one of the previous ones, one of the first ones we looked at.
Ivan says my video is looking better now, so that's good. I'll just use lower bandwidth.
Okay. I
kind of like that one too. That's actually where I was thinking too. Why don't you start, Phil?
I definitely can. Sorry, I was just working on things at the same time. I like this one. I like the contrast between the shadow down here and the bright up here. Almost looks like, the frog's on top of, I've gone really out there, on top of like the water surface, and this is what's going on underneath if we want to dive really far into things. But I like the frog itself. I like the fact that it looks like it's potentially stained glass. You got some light coming off the top of it. It's kind of bright. It's really one of the brighter things there, so it's helping draw you towards it. And I just think it looks cool. Yeah,
I agree. And, for me, it's the contrast, like you say, the dark bottom. It could go down as, who knows how far that goes down. It leaves your mind open to what's possible. The shallow depth of field by zooming in as far as she did. The light is beautiful. I really like the tone of the light. It looks like it was taken, I don't know, I'd say later in the day where the shadows kind of laying flat like that. And, that shallow depth of field blurring at the background, it just really helps because there's a lot of stuff going on back there. And if it was really much more noticeable, it would pull you away from the colors of the frog. And I'm red-green deficient, so it'd be very easy for me to lose what the frog is and what the background is if focus wasn't the way it is, right? What do you think, Michael?
Today I learned that you're red-green deficient. I agree with everything you guys said. It was a really good choice of composition, the shallow depth of field. I think I'm always thinking editing. I'm always thinking post-processing. So the first thing for me is that we're losing that brightness in the frog, that it doesn't pop as much, but the choice to have that darker and more visible on its own and then have everything else fade off to almost black, I think was a really good decision in this case when you're going straight out of camera, because it does bring the attention right back into that frog, even though it is a bit darker. Yeah, it was a really strong shot. I love the composition. I love the framing, everything.
And next time I see Rosemary, I'm going to try and arrange for us to go visit.
Yeah.
See how that
Maybe
works
in the
out.
spring.
Yeah. All right, so.
Both good. I like all those shots.
Let's check out the next one. Who do we have next?
Well, it was Jerry, but we're going to go to Ivan first because it's apparently the next one on my screen.
Oh, okay. And Ivan hit the 20 mark as well.
Yeah.
Excellent job, buddy.
So we'll take does he have two that he wants us to look at?
Let's see if he says. Ivan says, review the wood duck drake and the barn owl.
Okay.
So the wood duck drake is the first one, the big one.
Okay. I was going to say they're all wooden ducks. And okay, and then the last one is the barn owl. Okay, so let's take I'll do a quick like a click through for all the pictures, and then we'll jump back to the barn owl and the wood duck.
Sounds good.
This one looks like it's getting ready. Like it told a joke, and it's waiting for you to laugh.
Okay, so let's talk about the overall choice. So it looks like Ivan really embraced the wood in his room.
Yes, and I do
every
like
photo has the wood theme, right?
And you see almost a different style of carving through all of these. You see like this one where you have lots of fine detail. Looks like it's carved in, maybe using some of the grain with the wood. And then you have ones like this that look like it's maybe more painted on. And then you get ones like this that are definitely more painted on, but different types of carvings. And then things that are a lot more detailed, like the barn owl. And just, I think, a really good take on everything.
Did you see number 18?
I will head there now.
A moose antler guitar pick.
Ooh.
That is a pretty cool thing. I've actually seen one of these. Ivan came in with one of these for our colleague Ross, and it is they're really thick and they're really neat.
There we go. This one?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you just cut it and then shave it down, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
That's really cool.
So he's a guitar player, and he's got his Fender guitar and bass tuner, auto tuner that he has.
Quick question.
Yes.
Is he tuning in today?
Aha! Boom! You're just so punny.
It's
so funny.
It's getting bad. My jokes are terrible.
That's all right. That's why we love you, buddy.
I'm just gonna jump back to the barn owl. Overall, I like like a lot of the shots. I know he didn't tell us to look at it, but I want to jump back to it. It's on the way. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is a light that he has mounted in his wall, but this is just a really cool place to put a statue. Just the light coming off the statue itself, and whatever the light source here, whatever that is, it looks really cool. I can think of a lot of interesting things to put in a cubby hole like that.
These light boxes where you can put stuff in there are so many things you can do. For a shot like this, now let's see if photo details are there. Yes. Oh, so good. So he was shooting wide open, f2.8, at a 15th of a second exposure. I know this isn't the photo he told us to look at, but one of the things that I was really working on with my challenge was light. I don't know if you've seen my pictures in the community. I was usually using longer exposures and really playing with my aperture and playing with the settings in camera to moderate how much light get through. If the choice was made to make this extremely bright, successful. If, on the other hand, you were looking to isolate the heron and make the environment around it secondary, then maybe closing the aperture down from f2.8 to like f8 or f11 would kind of darken that up a little bit. In fact, it probably would make it so that you wouldn't even see the wood in the front, and it would draw you straight in to the carving. So there's so many other things you possibly could have done with maybe a smaller aperture or a lower ISO, just to moderate a little bit less light through, and that could have done something different, right? You guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to try and darken the foreground down a little.
Yeah, I know this
draw
is
more down to the heron itself. I also just noticed the butterfly. I'd love to know if that's carved on there or if that's placed on there, because the fact this is made out of driftwood is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But let's jump to the barn owl.
Let's do it. So clarity is fantastic.
Absolutely. Like very crisp, very sharp.
And you see, this is where the 2.8 aperture would really help, because you're trying to blur out the wood in the background, right? Trying to keep that a little bit more shallow so that the owl stands out from the photo.
Mm-hmm.
So in the lighting he had, he chose a slower shutter speed. It let in more light, which is great. Ambient light will give you more detail on the wood that you see around it. Again, if that's what you're looking for. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was a good decision. I really like the lighting in this. I'm a little off with the framing.
I kind of agree. I might have shot it sideways. But shooting on a tripod, I know that when my tripod goes sideways, things get a little funny. So it might have been in a similar boat, especially with the 0.6 of a second aperture.
Shutter speed?
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you.
And therefore,
been a while.
what do you mean by that, though, Michael, with the framing?
It's just that it's so close to the middle that there's a lot of negative space, and I really love negative space. I love using a ton of it in my photos, but what I notice in this one is the negative space isn't being used. So I think the easiest way to explain that is maybe a bit of a recommendation. One of the really interesting things to do with photos when you have a lot of space in the shot and you have any sort of character, a person, an animal, anything with eyes, is something called implied line. And that implied line would be if you were to take the owl and turn it just a little bit so that it's facing the left or right side of the frame, and then place it on the opposite side so that it's gazing out into the rest of the frame, then you're using that negative space to show the implied line of where the owl is gazing. And there's sort of a bit of storytelling that you can do with it, that if you have it on the left side of the frame and it's looking to the right, then it's gazing out into this open space. But if you have it on the left side of the frame and leave the right side open and have it gazing out to the left, it becomes agitated. It's looking out where you can't see. It becomes more mysterious. There's a lot of play that you can do with composition when you don't have anything else happening in the frame. But leaving it in the middle the way that you did here is really good visibility for this, really good lighting. Everything else works for it, but it's the fact that you're not using the negative space. It's not doing anything for the shot. So I think either changing the position of the owl or the angle of it and playing with the framing more, or, as Phil mentioned, cropping it in, changing the angle of the shot, and putting more attention centered into this statue.
Interesting points. Implied line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are things that, and Ivan, you know, once in a while he'll be like, well, you know, I didn't realize that there was so much into it, or, you know, there's so much involved in creating a specific photo, and maybe we're looking for something different than what he wants from his photos. But ultimately, if the lighting is good and it's sharp and it's clean, then we will all appreciate it for what it is. But if you're trying to create something that stirs the mind and makes you think a little bit more about what you're looking at, rather than saying picture next, picture next, picture next, then using these bits of psychology of how the eye reads things and how a person will start looking here and then travel into the photo and pay attention to it in a certain way, that's when we start to realize that composition is really important to keeping a viewer settled on your photo. I mean, how many photos are there shared every day?
A lot.
How do you make your photo one that people linger on and actually pay attention to it? Is that kind of, I'm not being rude, am I?
What do you mean?
No. It's a matter of, you have to be able to give that dynamic, and that's a really good point. The implied line adds a dynamic to the photo.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, here's a wood duck. That's a horrible segue.
That's okay. They're both made out of wood.
I just want to jump in. I got curious. Okay. 500 million a day.
500 million.
That's how many.
So how many pictures were taken from the beginning of photography to 1990? Or arguably, no. Let's say how many pictures were taken from the beginning of photography to 2000? Or even 2010? And then look at that number, and it's probably less than how many pictures are shared in like a monthly basis.
Totally, eh?
And more than the grains of sand in the Sahara.
Yes.
Unbelievable. All right, so hang on one second here. Where are we at here? We're at the wood duck.
Yes.
All right.
The wooden wood duck.
Wooden wood. A lot of wood in this theme.
He's got the wood paneling in the back. And
all right, so what do you guys think? Phil, why don't you start on the wood duck?
I like this one. I like the colors in it. I'm looking at the texture. Now, this is one that I would say is potentially more sculpted than just painted on. because we can see the shadows behind each one of the little ridges. And so that provides that extra level of detail into the duck itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the lighting coming more from the one side, nice and bright. Yeah.
Very cool. Michael, what do you think?
I have to agree with Phil. I think it was a really good choice of lighting. Does a really good job of showing the texture. I'm curious what the lighting is actually, because if it was mobile, I would have liked to see some more on the right side, because we're completely losing the back of the tail there in black. But otherwise, this is exactly what we're talking about as well, with the framing coming right in tight with this. I think was a really good decision here. There's
Agreed.
There's no distracting elements at all with this photo. There's no negative space being unused or itself distracting.
The sheen on the beak is really interesting. The highlight on that beak. You know, it looks like there's a lamp close by from that reflection and the glint in his eye. But I agree with you about the light on the back end. I mean, even just a flashlight or something for a quick second, just to fill its butt with light or something. Also, one thing I think is really interesting is the pattern of the wood right behind in the middle.
Looks like palm trees.
It kind of looks like it's like trees or something back there. It almost adds to, the duck in the woods kind of thing. You know, I wonder if that was planned. Very interesting. All right.
I'd be curious.
I love Ivan's shots. I think his focus is tack sharp. And I give you, the focus is hard to get, especially when we just taking pictures of things around your room. All of them, even the carving with the knife with the antlers and everything. Your placement is interesting. You've taken time. You've really worked toward these shots. Lighting, you've paid attention to your lighting. Obviously, everything is very well exposed. So well done.
Mm-hmm.
And we really got a sense of what you're interested in. And that's the whole point of the theme, though, don't you think, guys? Like, that's really what I like to see is the person's personality coming through the photos.
Yeah, and it's kind of a glimpse into kind of their world. Also kind of shows what they're, the most interested in, because it's what, you're going to kind of come to first to shoot when you're thinking of something like this.
All right, well, let's check out Jerry's shots.
Okay.
Jerry says his were taken in his family room. It's about 10 by 12.
Okay.
The favorite is the close-up of the dog photo.
Okay. So it's going to take a click through, and then this one threw me for a loop, but we'll come back. Actually, I'll talk about it now. When I was looking at the mini pictures, I was clicking through, and I had, vase, I'm assuming vase, statues, and then I'm clicking through, and I'm like, Blue Jays. I'm like, wait, hold on. What's going on? One of these things. And then I realized it's on his TV, and which is an interesting idea.
Yeah. But bottom of the ninth, Jays are winning.
And so is it this the close-up or the close-up of the close-up?
I think it's the other one.
Okay. Which, I love that dog picture.
What is going on here?
You smush the camera into the dog. I love it. My dogs would not cooperate enough for me to do something like this.
This dog has no eyes. That's hilarious. All right. So for as far as the overall theme goes, looking close. Jerry really looked close at stuff. In the pictures, there's a picture number 15 of, it looks like some sort of winter scene. That's a painting of something. Oh, it's from that.
Yeah, so
Oz.
This it looks like maybe a milk jug, a painted milk jug. And then if we go over a little bit, we get a close-up of that.
Now, I'm thinking Jerry might not have been using his tripod for these.
I think some of them.
Because there is some a bit of softness and motion blur on like the first vase, second photo. The TV, there's no motion blur because it puts out so much light, your shutter speed would naturally get faster. Yeah, 125th of a second. So you're getting the sharpness there, but when you get down to a 30th of a second or 25th of a second, you're just not getting that sharpness still. On the Betty Boop one, your shutter went up to 1/60th of a second. That's a little sharper.
Which is that before or after what I'm looking at? I think that was before.
That's before, yeah.
Well, let's start on the dog one, and then we can jump through. Because the dog one, what was the second one he wanted?
I don't think he said a second one.
Okay, because I kind of like the Betty Boop or the winter scene.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what do you think? Michael, why don't you start on this?
I can't decide how to feel about the photoception going on here that you took a picture of a picture. But it's a really cute idea. I love the framing. I gotta say, everything. It's always every comment I've made today is framing. It's really good composition. I really don't know what to say for this. I'm distracted. There's so much that I want to think about with this, but I'm realizing you're shooting a two-dimensional subject at the moment, shooting this print, and I can see a little bit of the glare from the light coming through the glass on that.
Yeah, right through the nose, top to bottom.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea what to say for this.
It's a tough one. It is, and I'm surprised he asked us to look at this one, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like this one, but I almost feel like I get a bit more from this one itself, because it almost feels like the dog's stuck in the box. I think it's trying to get out. It's just smushed against it. But I do I like what's behind the picture. I like the smushing of the dog, and it provides character and kind of fun. Which I got two dogs that are, I would call them rather fun characters. So I kind of get the feeling from this.
Yeah, it's a fun shot, and I think I think this is also one of those photos that you're attracted to when it's your own pet. You know what I mean? It has a different meaning when you know the personality of the dog, and you know the moment the photo was taken, the story around that moment is probably something very personal to Jerry, and that would bring a different meaning to the shot than it might to you or I, or me, whatever that's supposed to be. But it's still a fun photo, and when you look at it, the first thing you did, Phil, was you giggled about it, right?
Yeah, because it kind of makes me feel like my dogs. And I can think of them being in a weird situation, getting stuck in something, and just kind of having fun with it.
Reminds me of my cousin's dog Piffles, although Piffles was a black version of this. It was that same kind of snout and fun vibe to it. So really cute. All right, do we have anything to add?
I think that was everything for me.
All right, pretty good, Michael.
I think that's it.
Okay, so let's have a look at what we accomplished with these photo challenges.
Take a look at a second one.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think we should get a second one still.
So I either like Mickey Mouse or Betty Boop. I don't know how you guys feel.
Mickey Mouse or Betty Boop? Let's have a look here.
So we got Betty Boop, and then I can't click through faster on Google Plus, or Mickey Mouse.
I'm so used to looking at the other album. Mickey Mouse feels like it was shot at Ivan's place.
With the wood in the background. That's funny. Yeah, I was kind of going to go with Mickey Mouse, but now that would be looking like Ivan's place, why don't we do Betty Boop?
Okay. I like both of them. I like the character from both of them.
I bet Ivan or Jerry is surprised that we know who Betty Boop is.
Not that old.
Well, Betty Boop is
probably like 60s.
Before my time.
60s, 70s.
But she's awesome. So she's classic. I guess that's why we know about her, because she's classic. So go ahead, Phil, since you want to talk about her, go for it.
Sorry.
Are we keeping you up?
Well, I like both this one and the Mickey Mouse one just because the colors on it, right? You get the red dress pops out. She's got the kind of big, larger-than-life eyes. You get the smaller depth of field, so she's standing out a little bit from the background. Now, I imagine she's probably rather large and rather close to the background, but still, she's a little sharper than the background, which is, I think, really nice. And I like the option to not fill the frame with her. We got the flowers cut off a little bit here, but we cut the legs off above the knee so that we're not missing anything, or doesn't feel like we're missing anything. We got both, this arm in the shot and that arm in the shot. So I think it worked really well, and I like it because it's just kind of a fun picture.
Mm-hmm. Michael, what do you think of her on the right side of the frame looking to the right?
Good question, bringing that up. It sort of doesn't really tickle me one way or the other because she's more or less in the middle of the frame looking to the right. There's not a lot of play in the negative space on either side of her for it to have too much meaning in that sense.
So the glance, the Betty Boop stare isn't really being utilized here.
Not really. I gotta say what I really like about this, again, with Philip mentioning cutting off above the knees, that it's cropped like a portrait. It's also lit like a portrait. It's somewhere between split lighting and although it's sort of a caricature of a face, it looks really close to a Rembrandt. I think that's kind of satisfying to see for this, that it's lit so much like a portrait. But at the same time, the trade-off is I find the angle of that brick behind her really distracting. The verticals are off.
Mm-hmm. I'm really bad with that. My thing, like shooting wrestling, I always have ring ropes and corner posts and all of that, and I use those to balance the wrestler's positioning. Because if the wrestler's in a move and I keep that ring post straight, it gives it more of a dynamic, right? So whenever I see stuff like that, I'm always just wanting to straighten, grab it. Obviously, that's not something you would do in post because this is an in-camera challenge. So even just tilting the camera different or moving forward or a little bit out could have changed or skewed that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm super guilty about this as well right now, that I think I mentioned earlier that I wanted a really geometric approach to the photos I took, and I was trying to get straight lines hand holding it, and I did much worse than I thought I did. But
and it always looks different too, because keep in mind too, sometimes cameras, their viewfinder doesn't show 100% of the photo.
Yeah.
So you think you're composing something just right, and then you look at the picture and it's coming outside the lines, or it's a little bit skewed differently than you expected. So it is a challenge for sure.
Yeah. So I know this isn't a photo that you chose, Jerry. So we're kind of scrutinizing it a little bit more than intended, but that's the trade-off. I think the cropping, the angle that it was shot at is a little bit distracting, but at the same time, the lighting of it, the composition of Betty Boop herself, fantastic. I think it's really interesting.
That Betty Boop knows how to pose.
Yeah.
They got the triangle there with the arm and the body. And nice. All right, cool.
Okay.
Hang up the screen share there for a sec, Phil.
I'm working on that. Click
all right. So now, generally, we don't talk a lot about our own photos. And we certainly don't want to show our photos now in a way that would be condescending or trying to say that this is better than this or whatever. I do want to show our photos, though, to show how this challenge really could have been different. Like people could have, or hopefully they still will, think about things in a little bit more outside the box way. It's great that you take pictures, and it's great that you hit the nail on the head with a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the ability to manipulate light and to control your camera and to fire flashes off camera and to use flashlights or to use different tools or to get in closer and to try different things opens up all kinds of doors. So what we want to do by showing our photos is to say, well, A, this is our personality. B, these are the doors that we decided to open. And 3, we had fun doing it.
Absolutely. And this was an interesting challenge because it was come up with something different than you normally would and not rely at all on anything afterwards. Any little bit of cropping, any little bit of adjustment.
I think we all fall back on that. We're all guilty of it. Michael, I mean, this is your world. I really enjoy editing, and you pull that away from us. It's like taking our soother away too soon, right?
I think you were enjoying taking the candy away from me on this one because you know how much I strictly rely on editing. So
Well, why don't we take a look at yours first then?
Okay, here we go.
You have 18. Now, Phil, do a screen share of the entire panel of his photos.
I will.
I'm just individually.
I'm actually curious to ask if you guys can pick out two favorite, what you guys think are my best shots out of this.
Okay. How do I view a panel of pictures?
Just click on
click View Album.
Oh, would you look at that?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so you have, are you looking through, oh, you must be looking at the new Google Plus. I still have the old one. It's a white background.
New Google Plus.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to lock on Phil's screen here so everybody can see this. First thing you see, Phil, what do you think of the overall vision of Michael Lane?
Very meticulous, I would say. Because you have a lot of very detail-oriented things going on. You know, you have, for most of these shots, everything is in order. You know, this is in order, this is in order. We have some type of what feels like an advertisement going on down here.
So basically you're saying you've got OCD.
Pardon?
These uploaded in the wrong order from how I shot them.
They upload however it feels like uploading.
But you can move them around after when it's
okay, I didn't know that.
I can't. That's okay.
No, we can't now. But what I was saying is he's very OCD by the look of it.
Yes, I would agree with that a little bit. But I like these. These some interesting shots.
Absolutely. I love the light. I love the contrast.
You know, I'd say you shot a little bit of studio light on this, or used a flash of some sort.
Oh yeah.
And that was okay. I mean, and
absolutely,
again, guys, I use lighting, I use paintbrushes, I use things, but the photos you see weren't altered. They were all done in camera. So
let's click through these on a bit of a closer level.
I think only 2 of the shots in this album were not done with flash.
Okay.
I'm going to say that's one of them.
Nope, that one. Well, okay, that one I had the modeling lamp on the flash on just for a little bit of fill. It was the one, is the other close-up. That one.
Okay.
That's just the light from the red LED.
And a little bit of fill from my desk lamp.
Okay.
Is that a video game holder?
Nope, that is a close-up of my motherboard.
No, not that. The next one.
Oh, what?
This? That looks like this case.
That's actually part of my printer.
Okay. Nice.
There you go.
Super details, looking close.
Trying to get a flashier blue because the blue looks like a sports car, but it didn't work.
Got some hats.
I got some hats.
A little bit of paint and some filler.
But the way you use lines and the way you use contrast is really interesting. If you skip forward a couple more, like these are great, but the next one I think it is. Yes. That's my favorite.
Yeah, you got the corner light coming around one edge. I'm assuming it's a corner. Or an indent of some sort. Oh, go back.
It's the bent face of the front of my computer. Most of these shots you can tell are all of my desktop. I really like
you have the drives on the top.
This is what I'm talking about here with this photo too. I thought I was getting straight lines when I was hand holding it. Apparently not.
And it can be hard to see.
And it's killing me.
It is straight to the left edge though.
It's like a little downhill.
The line coming down, if you look, I mean, you've got perfect distance across that little edge.
This also might not be a straight line.
I don't know. This doesn't tweak my OCD.
I think it's really interesting to shoot your computer case because there's the details you can get out of one area.
That last one actually, the lighting on my face right now is because I always do this. I actually bounce my desk lamp off of the white window shade.
Okay.
So that's a silhouette of the desk lamp.
Yeah, that's really cool. That would be fun to shoot because it's always set up like that when I do the show.
You know, we used to have a challenge that we would do. It's a continuing challenge, and it's still continuing, just people don't know about it. It is the what the beep is that, hashtag what the beep is that. If you ever make a photo and you don't want, like you're trying to hide what it is and you shot it in a way that people might not readily think of it, hashtag it, what the beep is that, and everybody in the community will try and guess what they think it is. So this is one of those I would have put in the what the beep is that.
Absolutely.
It's very cool. Great eye, man. Lots of detail, lots of light.
I feel your OCD doesn't like this.
No, I was infuriating. Like, I almost want to get my money back, but
the things we think about.
I like those. I like the case shots. They're very like, if you know it was a computer case, it would look like, I don't know, part of a sports car. Like this is like part of a like an intake from a Lamborghini or something.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Yeah. I also like your shots of the chessboards.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, the chess pieces are pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Phil, let's have a look at yours.
Okay. Now that I know I can view grids, I would have done that earlier. My apologies to everyone. I shot 8.
I think Phil and I were the big failures in the volume department.
Yes, I took 8 pictures.
I took 122, but there's only 8 that met my list.
Well, yeah, I took, like 7 or 8 of the guitar. I just only kept 2 of them.
I'd be interested to know if the people who contributed to this challenge, Rosemary, Ivan, and Jerry, if they actually, I'd like to know how many they actually shot to get to the 20 that they have. It'd be interesting to hear that too. All right, Phil. First of all, Michael, what do you think of Phil's personality in his photos?
I don't know what to say for personality. I like it. I'm trying to look at these on my screen, and it's completely messing up now. I'm having a weird thing happening on my screen. But it screams Tinkerer, and I'm having a really, really weird, obscure reference coming to mind right now. I don't know if you've ever played World of Warcraft, but I'm thinking like the gnomes in World of Warcraft, like engineering and the little gadgets.
He is totally a little engineering gnome. That is so
yeah,
engineering gnome.
No, I like the consistency of what you shot. That it's all metallic, it's all gears, it's all tinkering, it's macro. I think we both took the macro approach, but it's got a really cool feel on. I love that you stuck to that.
Consistent
engineering is the only thing that comes to mind right now. The tinkering.
I was going for a technology in my office theme.
It's really neat, though. I mean, even just that braided wire that you have.
That's my tree.
You have a tree made of this?
Yeah. Let me grab it.
Okay. It's some really neat stuff. Actually, the guitar strings, looking from the place where the strings start to fade off into the background, that one to me has such motion. It's really neat how there's implied motion there. Yeah.
Yeah, it almost looks like they're vibrating.
Like,
and they're just out of focus. And I actually rotated it upside down on my computer, and it looked more like a part of a dam or something. So I liked it. It was just different.
Nice. Wait a minute, you rotated it?
No, like if on my computer I spun it upside down.
Oh, you mean you spun your computer upside down?
Sure.
Because you can't edit.
No, I'm just saying I wanted to see what it looked like upside down.
Okay.
Yes.
It's such a cool thing. All these little details. And your light is great. What kind of lighting did you use?
I opened my windows.
So this is all natural light?
Natural light, everything on a tripod, which was a lot of fun because instead of cropping, I was shifting my tripod forward and backwards like a crazy person.
That's the way it's supposed to be done. Oh, and by the way, Ivan says he shot about 60 photos.
Okay.
Which is pretty good. Pretty good. 20 out of 60. That's all right that you like that many. It's a good ratio. And, of course, you got to throw in the obligatory Daytripper photo.
Yeah, thank you for...
And you've got the nice textured paper. And...
Yeah. Well, that's just my normal printer paper. It just looks super detailed.
Mm-hmm.
But the Walmart special is like...
Navi is a paper person. Sorry, what was that?
What lens was this?
This was the 105mm macro for Canon. It's gorgeous. And that was, I think, I don't know. Does it tell me what F it was? F8.
Well, sounds about right.
When you get
5
inches away from your subject, your depth of field is ridiculously small. Yeah. And I could have focus stacked to get more of this in focus, but it's not what we're doing today.
But you couldn't.
Exactly.
I really do recommend people look at these photos on the community because there's so much more detail than looking at them on the screen. Like the picture of the old phonograph. The ridges on the album.
Yeah. On
So
the old
cool.
heavyweight, the suspension basically, or the shocks, I would say. I don't know if that's the proper name for them, on the head itself, so it can pivot and actually make the motions on the drum up here so it can go through and come out. Just the fact that someone created this is, I don't know, awesome in my opinion.
It's so, I love the fact, I just love the progression of technology.
Yeah.
Very neat stuff. Phil, good job, man.
Thank
well
you.
done.
So let's take a look at yours.
Oh, I guess we got to do that, don't we?
I like yours.
Well, the first one is a behind the scenes, and I haven't rotated it. That's kind of the way I shot it, but I guess I can just rotate it here and look at it.
That's okay. I'm just turning my head. So that's all the stuff you use to take your shots.
Yeah, pretty much that's everything I used. I had 2 flashes that I was using at points with gels and flashlights and stuff like that. I had my list of photos that I wanted to make. I had a pretty good idea of every single shot I wanted to do, and I still may go through and finish it. I just didn't have the time. But yeah, that's my setup. Those are 3 of my 4 TV dinner trays. I have a system, the 4 TV dinner trays of life. And pretty much anything I do for preparation, you put out 4 TV dinner trays and start putting stuff on them, and next thing you know, everything is organized and put away where it needs to be, and life has order again. So
right on.
That's kind of how I solve all my problems. I have the 4 TV dinner trays method.
So let's take a look at some of these.
All right.
I just want to jump in. What is the orange and blue thing?
This thing?
What am I looking at? Yeah.
That is when Henry's turned 100.
Yeah.
He gave out paperweights.
So it's this glass paperweight with orange and blue stuff inside of it.
Okay.
They're pretty heavy. I ended up with like 5 of them. They're pretty cool.
I had one somewhere for a while. It's probably here somewhere.
You'll see it pop up here soon. So
get a little wolf.
Yeah, did a wolf. Woof. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I gotta say, I like this one a lot.
Is that moon another light hitting the wall?
So it's my little round flashlight.
I like it.
Very clever.
Thank you. And I had to slow the shutter speed down so that the ambient light would show. Mm-hmm. So this is 1/25th of a second shutter.
Okay. Right on.
And you can see I'm using a blue gel on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a flash off to the right that I'm firing from the creative lighting system.
To bring the light in from the side.
Yep.
Okay. And then you went with light painting here, but with the flashlight again as the moon.
Flashlight again as the moon. All different
very
stuff.
Clever.
I love that it looks like tall grass in the background. Like it feels like it's outside.
Mm-hmm.
I should have made it green, and then you would have really felt the grass. But I wanted that waving kind of misty stuff in the back. Yeah.
Well, it kind of also feels a bit like snow too, like it's winter time, that kind of thing. So you got a lot of feelings going on, which is good.
That's cool. And that was this thing that I was using.
Your little brush.
Yeah, a little fiber optic brush that I made.
Yeah.
A little bottle top.
Worked really well.
And show you got all the fiber optic strands are kind of burnt off inside the cap. And I've got a little piece of rubber on the inside of there. So you just take the flashlight and it doesn't matter really what size it is, just jam it in there and it'll stay. And then that's what it is. I love flashlights.
Flashlights are awesome. Light painting is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I just like the glittery stuff, the mica chips in the rock.
Yeah, picks up the light everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And just by changing the angle that you put the flashlight, you can get more or less of them.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
There's that.
GoPro?
GoPro in the rocks. Working it. It's actually recording. So I have GoPro footage of me shooting it.
Okay.
I was wanting to get the red light on, and I think in one of the other shots I have it, but
okay.
just so it looked like it was really working. So this one here I call time to work.
I get it.
Get it? Henry's and it's time. Yeah, it's pretty literal, lame approach. Ooh, but you can see what time I shot the photo, at least. You know, I was really rocking it today at 8:10 to 9 o'clock. I was trying to get ready.
That's okay. I think you have one more?
I think so, yeah.
2 more.
2 more?
Yeah, this is what, straight out of gel?
Yeah, pretty much.
Through a honeycomb?
This is playing with my balls, actually.
Okay.
You know those poi balls that I have
Yeah.
that go different colors? Yeah, it's just, you spin them. What do you guys think I'm talking about?
I like that you have purple over here. All of this is blue except for this one honeycomb is purple.
That is so crazy. I can't see that.
I like it.
Yeah, I tried to go for a little bit of an off angle so you can see the depth of the honeycomb.
Mm-hmm. You have like a shadow coming through some of the honeycombs on the outside. It makes this honeycomb look round instead of flat like it is.
Going for some depth.
Mm-hmm.
And got to throw in some Nikon.
Yeah. Was that a film viewer?
It sure is. Yes, sir.
Right on. Looks like you also need to dust your office.
I know. Oh, my God. I noticed that afterward. I was like, oh, I can't show this, but I have to. So, yeah, that's just my little Nikon little loop sucker. And I had it sitting on one of the poi balls as the ball was lit.
Okay.
I lit a flashlight through the top.
Okay, I thought that was like a circle of paper or something, but now I get the 3D effect of it. Right on.
Yeah, that was it. So It was fun, you know. It's just I really do wish that there was a little bit more time, and I say a little more time. We had 3 weeks to do it, but you know,
that's any good assignment. You leave it to the last minute.
You don't realize how busy you are until everything that you really want to do falls by the wayside.
I think one of my favorite things about the photos that the three of us took is that we all have in common is we all look like the before shot to a Swiffer commercial.
Yes.
And you know what's funny is the people who submitted photos for the challenge, they were really clean. They took the time to dust. All right, so that was fun. I hope everybody enjoyed working on the challenge, and I hope the people who made the challenge enjoyed sharing them and really contributing in the way they did. It was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. I hope that our next challenge will stimulate you as well and get you out there making some of these photos. And it's a good time of year to do it because the next photo challenge we are going to announce shortly. But first we have to give our points for this week's photo challenge. And we think we're all unanimous on the choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go back to screen sharing.
Let me just go back here and confirm. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah? Okay, cool. Yep. All right. So you're doing your screen sharing.
Indeed.
And I will do the lovely sound effects because it's very important we do this.
I can hear a commentation of some sort.
Okay.
I hear some. I don't know where it's coming from. It might be coming from me. Hold on. Yeah, I have an advertisement playing in the background, everyone. Sorry about that.
Why do we have to see Donald Trump on our TV?
I was coming up with a quote for tonight. I was going to look up the most ridiculous Donald Trump quote I could find.
Just make it up.
Currently is Donald Trump.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually have a Drump-free life.
It's a good way to run things. But let's take a look at these outcomes.
Okay, so the third place winner this week with 2 points goes to Jerry, and this is for the overall challenge, not just for the photos that were submitted. Jerry, you're going to be our 2-point winner for this week. Phil, do you have that up?
What?
Oh, Jerry. There you go. You're just hovering over it. Okay, Jerry. Yeah. Yay.
I realize I can pop names up if I hover over things.
Oh, God. A good idea. Oh, that's really neat. The old one doesn't do that. Anyway, Jerry, congratulations. You get your 2 points this week. And the 4-point winner for this current week goes to Ivan. Ivan with the wood ducks. and everything like that. Well done. And in first spot with a total of 6 points this week, that one is going to go to
Bryan. Yay.
No, not at all. Goes to Rosemary.
Absolutely.
That was suspenseful. That was very suspenseful. Who would get first place? All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for submitting this week. We really appreciate that. The challenge for the upcoming photo challenge, the final photo challenge of the third quarter of the year, is going to be fall.
Good.
Ooh.
Can be could be someone falling over, could be a hospital, could be anything. Pumpkin spice lattes.
Anything that represents fall. Take the word literally, to fall.
Yeah. You literally can't even.
What?
Sometimes I need Gabriel. Get your pumpkin spice lattes and your Uggs, and you'll be perfect.
Oh, jeez. All right.
But anyway, I just want to jump back for a second because I talked about my tree. This is my tree.
Ooh.
It's like what is this stuff? Copper wire coming out of the top of an old Nikon. I planted it outside for a little bit, and it sprouted a Nikon tree.
Oh, is it eventually going to grow into a D5?
That'd be great, but it hasn't grown in a while. I haven't watered it in a bit.
That's really cool.
Oh, actually, I say it grew a Nikon tree. It's a Canon point and shoot. For those of you who are quicker eyes than I do.
That's hilarious. So you're growing a Nikon tree out of a Canon point and shoot.
That I am.
Oh, wow. You are some creative fella. All right. So do we have anything else to add before we say our goodnights, guys?
I do actually have a quote.
Oh, yes, we do have a quote. Lovely.
It is in the exact opposite of the quote I was looking for before.
Go for it.
So tonight's quote is, "Be kind whenever possible. It is always possible." It's Dalai Lama.
Oh, God, I love Dolly. I love Dolly.
All I can think of with the Dalai Lama is Caddyshack when, what's his name?
Chevy Chase?
Not Chevy Chase. The other famous guy.
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray, thank you, is talking about when he caddied for the Dalai Lama. It's just the most ridiculous story possible.
Oh, that movie was awesome. First movie I ever saw boobs in.
I think that's actually a lot of people's first movie.
I would probably say so. Anyway, we're getting crazy.
80s. Somehow you were less censored than the 90s.
And yet it meant so much more. All right, guys. So next week is going to be a our banter show. And, guess what's back next week, guys? Jeopardy!
Ooh.
And
we're going to try and play Jeopardy next week. Now that we're on YouTube, and now that it's a little bit quicker, the lag is not as bad, we're going to try the Jeopardy thing. And it may fail miserably, so I'm going to have a backup plan. Last time we tried the Jeopardy game, it's a photography question game, just like the TV show Jeopardy. And you can watch the show, and we'll ask questions, and you get to answer them, and first person that rings in gets to answer the question, and by the end of the game, I keep track of points, and it could be a lot of fun.
Okay.
So next week we're playing Jeopardy on the Banter Show.
I do want to jump in. I have a better quote.
Oh.
It has more to do with what we were doing tonight.
Jump in there, Phil.
And so this is also by the Dalai Lama. It's actually the 14th Dalai Lama. And it's, "Remember that sometimes not getting what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck." I think for shooting naked, that is probably a good thing, because you're going for something, you end up with something else, and you know what? It might have ended up just as good.
It's funny because it's true. It's some of my favorite shots I took this year were happy accidents.
Yeah, it's like Bob Ross.
What?
Bob Ross?
Bob Ross with the curly hair, the pink hair?
We don't make mistakes. We only make happy accidents, happy little accidents.
Oh,
it's like the happy little clouds.
I'm never
with his massive brush somehow. I don't like Bob Ross. What's wrong with Bob Ross?
He doesn't know who Bob Ross is.
Okay.
Look it up. Bob Ross. Classic.
I'm out of the loop on every reference tonight.
That's an 80s reference.
You're not that much younger than I am. That's the saying.
You're an old soul, Phil. You hang around with Martin too much. His
Oh, dear.
excessive age has rubbed off on your
I
less
think so.
age. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you everybody so much for watching. The current photo challenge now is fall. We hope you guys make some great photos. Watch us next week as we talk about our banter show. We're going to get into the video game, or not the video game, the TV show game, Jeopardy. It's funny because Navi made this game, and she has Alex Trebek's body with my head, and it's really funny. So
Can we do like Celebrity Jeopardy and just be ridiculously offensive?
No.
Good old Saturday Night Live.
Yes. Okay, and of course, the third quarter photo review is going to be on October 19th. So you have a few weeks to make your photos for that challenge. The week after the banter show, where we're playing the video game Jeopardy, we have a good theme for a tips and techniques show. We're going to do, I believe, is that what the HDR we're talking about? Is that it?
Yeah, I think we're going to do HDR.
Okay.
Or what were you thinking, Phil?
I thought it was what we were talking about today.
It could have been. I think I have two things planned for one show.
We'll come up with something, but it's going to be awesome, and it's going to help you edit.
That's right. And
Yes.
you'll learn something or two. Okay, guys, we're going to say goodnight. We're well beyond our time, and I hope everybody had a great time. I know I had fun.
As
we'll
always.
talk to you all next week. So take care and have a good week. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
See you.
We're supposed to say goodbye, guys. Never mind. Night. Oh, wait. Wrong button.